out there. Welcome to Pcgtv Sports Time with Jerome. My name is Jerome Ochre. Today we are back here to look at Ghana football matters, as we often do. The Black Satellites of Ghana couldn't make it to the World Youth Tournament because they failed in the African Youth competition when they lost on penalties to Egypt after drawing 2-2 in 90 minutes. In fact, the game went to extra time and they couldn't score. The game ended 2-2, which meant that the game had to be decided on penalties, and Ghana lost 4-5 to Egypt. Here we are going to look at what is it that has ensured that Ghana keeps failing at making it to some of these youth competitions. A competition that years back we were doing so well. Indeed, in 2009, we were champions, world champions. But since then, we've failed to glitter at that level. We'll go for a short break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest and we go straight into the issues. Welcome back. So as I was telling you, there's a black satellites on the table. We are going to dissect them and find out exactly what is in their belly that ensured their inability to qualify. But before that, I want us to take our scripture for the day, and I take you to Psalm 108 verses 13, where it is written, with God's help, we will do mighty things, for he will trample down our foes. With God's help, we will do mighty things, for he will trample down our foes. Unfortunately, the Black Satellites could not trample down the Egyptians. But God is assuring us that as we keep our faith in him, he will help us overcome our enemies. We'll go for another break. When we come back, the show continues. Welcome back. So as I was telling you, it is the Black Satellites on the table, and with me to look at all that transpired in Egypt over the last couple of days, it's someone who knows Ghana football issues. He's not just a coach, he's also a scout. He knows players and what goes into player selection. I'm talking about Coach Eben Sefa. Coach, welcome.
Thank you, Jerome.
And thank you for joining us. What do you think went wrong with the Black Satellites in Egypt? Maybe we should start from that point of view and then we go into the issues proper. Exactly what went wrong? I thought they did very well by coming back from, was it 2 goals down? To draw 2-2. After extra time, it was still 2-2, only to lose on penalties. The assumption is that we don't do well on penalties. But people are saying it's not just a matter of penalties. We just were not good enough to advance to the next stage of the competition and therefore make it to the World Cup.
Yes, I think that we were not good enough because playing a team that didn't even qualify for the tournament, they had to come in because the previous host, Ivory Coast, pulled out. So they were given the nod to host.
Yeah.
So obviously, in terms of planning for the tournament, you should understand that probably they were not ready. So even their first game against Leon, they lost by 4 goals to 1 or something. And at the end of the day, they have to go for the playoff before they qualify for the the quarterfinals where they came to play Ghana. And I think that the Ghanaian side were overconfident, if I should put it that way, because if you listen to commentators, football fans, administrators after the game, Ghana dominated. And at the end of the day, what was the scoreline? You couldn't qualify. What did you dominate? Because one, they believed that, look, Ghana was the stronger than their team. So let's have a plan. Let's sit and then go on a counter and catch them on the break. And which for me, it did work for them. The first goal, communication between the captain for the side, Makati Ofori, and the goalkeeper. They couldn't communicate. So the Egyptians took advantage and then they scored. The second goal, the same captain again, didn't take his position well. He was beaten to it. The goalkeeper came out and the ball was at the back. So we have to fight back. And of course, Aziz is out.
So you see, I wanted you to land on the second game before I come in because I mean the second goal, not the second game. I mean the second goal,
Yeah.
because you see, I didn't watch the match, to be honest with you, but I've seen the highlights and I've seen the goals, and I asked myself, at that level, if you, I mean, we can pardon you if it's once, but twice at that level, such defensive errors are costly.
Of course, and you see, it's very painful. Communication is part of defensive principle, and at that level, if you don't know this, then I don't see why you play football. You made the first mistake, whether the technical team drew his attention to it or not, we don't know. And he made the same mistake. So you allow the Egyptians to grow in confidence because a team that knew from the blast of the horses that look, they cannot play. They are just coming in probably to play and see whether it will work for them. And then you just give them 2 goals. You have to fight back. So by fighting back, of course, you'll be anxious, you'll be aggressive, you have patience when you are in the penalty area or the vital areas. So that was why I was expecting the technical team should have told the players to calm down and play their normal game, especially after we had our second goal from the sport. Guys, 90 minutes plus 5.
Yeah.
Even the last 30 minutes in the injury, the extra time, we could have played our normal game and we could have punished them because we were bad in front of goal. We had the chances and we couldn't even score. I mean, a free went back to his club. He was thrown back. Misbah Aziz, who plays for Dreams FC, started. He got a equalizer against DR Congo. Aziz also scored. These are guys that played in the African games that Ghana won at Lagos.
Okay.
So it means that consistency from that side, we have it. We have about 7 players who played in that African games.
You know, some have said that indeed, if we have lost, or as we have lost, it is not so surprising because if you listen to the coach, and I'm talking about Desmond Affair, if you listen to him, it looks like he more or less foresaw what was coming because some of his pre-match commentaries, press conference, he said that the game against the Egyptians was more like a final. I mean, for the fact that the Egyptians are not as good as we think they are, is it that Ofer and his charges really knew that something was going to befall them? I mean, something like what happened.
Now, if he speaks like that, it tells you that probably they didn't monitor the Egyptian team. Because a team that doesn't have structure in terms of the play, and you are strong in terms of your defense line, only conceding 1 goal within the first stage of the competition. You have a team that you believe in them. And for me, probably didn't have confidence in the team because one, you have the team that played the African games. You had a team that went to Germany to play the friendly match, a team that played the Wafu Zombie for us to qualify for this particular tournament. And of course, after that tournament, the team was taken to Morocco for a 2 friendly in Morocco. So in terms of preparation wise, they were doing very well. You ask yourself, before the team left Ghana, a list was published by the FA. And going through the list, that was about 20 home-based players. There wasn't any professional player. But the team that went to Morocco for the friendly, there was one guy from Canada who came to join the team. And for me, if you're professional players, because it's not a FIFA sanctioned game, if it is not a FIFA organized game, and you believe that you are not going to get your key players that are professionals, you rely on the home-based players and then probably have confidence in them for them to play for you. With that, you have consistency, team cohesion, and understanding. And I can tell you that most of these professionals that came, some of them are warming their team's bench. Sulemana, who won the final game, the MVP, probably in Denmark, he's not a starter. Sometimes he's on the bench, he comes on. But Clinton Dodo, who plays outside this country, former Beijing player, has been playing week in and week out. But he was on the bench. He didn't even play any of the game.
I see.
So you ask yourself, what sort of team did we present? Not names, but what sort of a team did we present? Okay. So at a point that the coach spoke before the game that the Egyptians are good, but we Ghana, we have quality individually. It tells you something that, look, you didn't believe you have a team, but we have individual brilliance.
Okay.
And that was exactly what we saw.
All right. We are going to explore the issues more when we come from this break. We'll be back. Welcome back. So we are looking at the black satellites and all the issues and the things that have happened around them in Egypt. They couldn't make it to the World Cup, and it's something that is coming more as a disappointment because I mean this is a level that we have dominated before, but now we can't even qualify. Coach, so let's roll the tape back and look at the years that we were doing well and why in recent years we are failing. What is your reading? What can you say of the two scenarios?
Let's take Karim Zito's team that won the AFCON.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we couldn't go for
because of
the World Cup, of course.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2017.
Yeah.
Zito team that played in the Wafu Zone B. They're the same team that he took to the AFCON. Randy Abe was the management committee chairperson.
Okay.
And then you compare to this team, you realize that they are two different teams because Zito had ample time to prepare the team for the Wafu Zone B tournament that they qualify. And he took the same team. And we have most of these are home-based players playing. Shaku Fatau, Fiye Banier, Danlad, family of Kotoko was in goal post. And you can talk of Ofuri Makati that captained the team. He was part of the team. Aaron Essel was part of the team. And to mention a few. So Zito was able to have consistency with his boys when they went for the tournament. But in this case, we have under 20 that played in the African Games. I don't know whether probably most of the players were over age.
Okay.
After the African Games. Then if they are over age, they probably have to blame the those who pick the players because at the end of the day, you're preparing them for this particular tournament. So if you don't pick the right players, obviously when they get closer, you may not get because the captain for the team that won the African Games is Edwin Tufo of Bekum Chelsea. He captained the team, but he's in Bekum Chelsea today, but he was not part of this team. What happened? And a couple of them. So you ask yourself that after that team that played, yes, most of them went outside. Injury set in. Most of them didn't get playing time of their various clubs. The team was able to go to Germany for a friendly, meaning that we were doing preparation towards this Wafu Zone B tournament. Fortunately for Ghana, we were second, and then we qualified for the tournament. The team was taken to Morocco to have a full preparation. At that time, the head coach was the assistant coach of the Black Stars. So 2 weeks he was with the senior national team, the Black Stars, whilst his assistants and the rest of the technical team had the team in Morocco. So after the Black Stars game against Madagascar, Ofer came to join the team. And remember, they pitched camp in Accra instead of Pram Pram.
Yeah.
And then Premiership players were invited. 2 Premiership players from each club were invited. They have 2 sections. And then with all this preparation, and you can have a core. What I mean by a core, 23 players made the African Games. And this particular tournament, it was 26. That was what CAF released. And if you have only 7 rep that made the African Games, that tells you that we were not consistent in terms of our player selection, team preparation, and of course how we were able to get these boys. And if you could remember, Jerome, after the release of home-based 20 players, Ghanaians didn't see
the squad
until a day before.
What?
So the technical team and the management team have a lot of questions to answer.
It's something that beats my imagination. And for all the period I've followed football in Ghana, and this is well over 30 years, it is only under this administration that there's always an issue over selection of players, when squad will be released, or when squads are released, and you don't know. Excuse me to say, the squad for tournaments like this one became something like a fetish. People were worshiping it
because pundits, media men couldn't discuss it because they didn't have the squad. They have to wait till the day before the tournament. And how do you discuss it? Because one.
But the question is, why would you keep? I mean,
have you forgotten when Blaster was going to Qatar?
That's the point.
Otoado decided not to give us the list until a day before or something. Before the whole team left here. He made a press.
Yeah. So that's the point I'm making. That what is it that will make us keep a team that is going to play? And it's not a club football team.
I believe that
it's a national team.
I believe that when the team returns, the technical team needs to let us understand. Because at the end of the day, if you think that your opponents will be reading between the lines of
No,
football,
but
you played friendly matches, you've played qualifiers, so of course the videos are there for them to see your team.
but in this day and
So-
age, who will hide squad from?
Seriously, Ofe has a lot of questions to answer, because to me, he's part of the reason why we failed to qualify.
Okay.
Because after the 90th minute, and then we had opportunity of playing the extra 30 minutes, he should have calmed his players down,
Okay.
because they were in the haste in front of goal.
Okay.
They thought that, look, the Egyptians weren't good, so you realize that chances that they could easily convert, they were just missing them. And for me, if they had calmed down and played their normal game, they could have easily scored even 2 or 3 more goals to the end of the game. And if they had practiced on penalty shootouts, I don't think the players would be struggling in playing this penalty shootout, because in
But-
the competition like this, quarterfinals, it ends in a draw, and after the extra time, you go for penalty shootout.
Yeah, but
The Egyptians show confidence that, look, they practiced it and then they were just putting the ball just like that.
but the defense from some quarters has been that as for penalties, it's more like a lottery.
We won the World Cup under 22 what?
Maybe we're lucky.
No, what lucky? You saw how Ajiman
Ajiman Bedu,
Andrew Ayew and the rest took
Yeah,
their penalty,
yeah,
because they
I remember.
rehearsed it, they practiced it, they knew that when it ends goalless draw, they will take
Yeah.
the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
But in this case, yes, we put it at the back of my Ghana, the penalties here, but at the end of the day, it will happen for you to go and take. It takes players with confidence and boldness to take penalty shootout.
That's true. And talking about our inability to make it, it's been 10 years. Look, our friends at 3 Sports put this together, and that's what you are seeing on your screen. Ghana's record in the Under-20 World Cup in the last 10 years. So this one is from 2015 till date. And guess what? 2015, we exited at the round of 16 stage at the World Cup. And we are talking about Under-20 World Cup. 2017, we did not qualify. 2019, we did not qualify. 2021, like we mentioned, Ghana had won the African competition with Coach Karim Zito, now at Asante Kotoko, as the coach. But the competition was called off in 2021 because of COVID. COVID, destroyed the plans. In 2023, again, we did not qualify. And 2025, here we are again. We are talking about lack of, absence of Ghana. Ghana is going to be absent at the World Cup. Coach, it's disturbing looking at the
Very
trend.
disturbing.
What some have said that, or people, the argument from some people I've been listening to since this game was played is that, look, we need to go back to the basics, which is making sure that development of talent is preceded by identification of talent. You are a scout, so I'm sure you will be able to, deal with this matter properly. That the talent we identify in the first place is wrong. We don't identify the best, and development becomes a problem. And so when they progress to the national teams, you have big players, or sometimes players that do not deserve to be in the national team. Wearing the national
You
team.
see, I believe that it's about transition. And we don't do our transition very well. Let's go back to Bobo's time. That
When you talk about transition, what do you mean?
in terms of players from under 17 graduating to under 20, or
okay.
probably we have under 15 now. The schools under 15 team, we are probably under 17, under 15 can be transit to under 17 to under 20. So in terms of monitoring, definitely most of these players will get offers and will be out of the country. And if they are playing, how their development is going. If there's a friendly match for under 17, how does the coach monitor those players? And do we have a plan? What I mean by a plan, for instance, this U20 team that has failed to qualify for the World Cup, their next stage should be under 23.
Yeah.
Who is the head coach of under 23? It's Coach Mengel Kasim of Nations FC. Does he have an idea of this particular under 20? Is Ofe going to write his report to the technical directory for them to invite Mengel and then probably hand it over to him for him to take over the players that will be able to play the under 23, because it is 4 years that we play. So probably in the next 2 years, how is he going to monitor these players? And then when it comes that he has to make a call up, he will go and then check the stats of these players, whether they are doing very well in their various clubs, and locally, which players have popped up that he can also add up to. And of course, he will start preparing. You see the U15. Yeah, Preko started this U15 about 2 years ago. and now he has opportunity of taking the team to Israel.
Yeah, they went
He
to
won a
Israel.
major tournament. And I believe that since he came, this schools competition that was organized by CAF, yeah, the African boys can go to play, but they say in schools. So became go coach. Koku Danso is now handling the U15, those are in school. And today, I don't think a player of 14 years, because if you say under 15, it's 14, 13 years, will not be in school.
Yeah, of course.
So why do we have two under 7, under 15? Koku Danso's 15, though some of the players are in the African team.
The duplicity.
Of course.
Yeah.
So in terms of transition, now we have U16 head coach, U17 head coach, U18 head coach, U19. Recently, Karim Zito and then Eric McQueen were the U19 coaches. They went all over the country getting players and then probably nurturing them for the U20. You ask yourself, who is going to take care of those players since Zito is no more going to be the U19 coach? Yeah. So the transition needs to be done very well. Let me go back a little bit to when we won the World Cup. Go and check the players that played in the World Cup. Ajima Bedu has moved from Kotoko to a club in Spain on a loan.
Yeah.
Inko was playing for FC Basel. The day Ayew was in France. We have Daniel Ado for Kim Faisal. Jordan Ayew. Abeku Kwanza was in France. Rabiu Mohammed. Look at these boys. They were in our local league and then they played under 17. So the monitoring from Bobo was there. So whilst they were in Europe, they were playing. So bringing them together, he didn't have much problem, but consistency because they have played together. But in this case, you invite foreign-based players that have not even tasted any of the qualifiers, and then they come to join the team probably for 5 or 10 days to the tournament. How do you have that cohesion and understanding?
I get it.
So if a team like Egypt, who doesn't even know what to do on the field of play, will eliminate Ghana, a country that everybody's looking at, a former world champion, cannot sail through, then there's a big problem.
Yeah, we are not doing something right. And I like the argument you make about transitions. If at the under 15 level you have 2 teams, I mean, how do we even manage those 2 teams? There's so much to say and talk about concerning the youth football agenda in Ghana. We'll go for another break. When we come back, we see or find out what the way forward should be. Welcome back. So, as we have been discussing, if the Black Satellites and their failure to make it to the World Cup, in 10 years, Ghana hasn't made it to the World Cup. We keep failing. But we need to find out, I mean, what we can do, coach, to reverse this trend. I mean, let's use the last segment of the show to look at what should be done. In your opinion, what should we do to see, for instance, at the next opportunity of this youth competition, Ghana will be able to make it? What should be done?
We should prevent agents from getting close to our U20.
Okay.
1. 2. The lie under 17 that failed to qualify. Most of these boys are available. The U19 selection that Dito was going on and doing it, most of them will qualify for the next under 20. So who is going to be the under 20 head coach? Is it still going to be Ofe? We should just give Ofe and let him out of the senior national, because you cannot burden one coach this responsibility, qualify the team for the World Cup, and at the same time assist Otoado to qualify the senior national team for the World Cup.
I don't know why we are not learning.
So you ask yourself, don't you have coaches that can take the role that Ofe is playing at the Blasters, so that he can fully concentrate with the U20, and then he should be able to also be bold enough to tell everybody that, look, this is the squad of 26 that I'm going to work with. If exceptional players should come out from any of our local teams, he comes in. If another player should pop up in Europe that we believe that he's better than those that we have, good to go. Because we believe that most of these competitions are not FIFA well organized. So if it is so, basically let's deal with the home-based players. Of course, for the home-based players, they'll be released for them to go and play. But when it comes to the tournament proper, that is where you begin to speak with the clubs. But most of the clubs out there, when their players are called to their national teams, it gives them value. You see how important the players are and quality that they have in those players. It's about planning. Let's go back. But boy is still alive. Jordan Alagula, may he so rest in peace. We have a lot of people that were involved in that under-20 World Cup that we won. The Andre Ayew was the captain. He's now a former captain of the senior national team. He can be talked to. Ajima Bedu who scored the final penalty kick for us to win the final game, is here. He has retired from football. We can speak with him. What did they went through? What did they go through before they were able to achieve what they did? Rabiu Muhammad is in the country. Klassen Awaku, though he was playing for Heart of Lions at that time, he's also here. And these are guys that when you encounter them, there are certain things that you get to know that they were put through that can help this current generation probably preparing for the next under-20 World Cup. But for me, I think that our next concentration to be our U23, because at the end of the day, this call of the U20 has failed us. Are we going to let them go? Are we going to neglect them? Are we not going to unfollow them? If we do that, it will come back to hurt us that a day will come that we'll call players for the U23, and that is where probably we will be begging players to come and play, and we won't have that kind of consistency in terms of team play. And every senior national team, the neck is the U20. Most of these boys should be able to play the senior national team. Of course, a free have shown it from a Division 2 to U20 to the Blasters, and currently he's part of the senior national team, and he's the U20. Aaron himself, this is the fourth time he's playing for the U20. He should be able to play the senior national team. Fortunately for Ofe, he's the assistant coach to Otoado and the head coach for the U20. Let's see how these players will be transited into our various national team and being the U23, the senior national team, and the CHAN team. Those players that will not travel. So for me, it's a whole thing that we need to sit down and address it. But for now, we have to wait for Ofe for his report.
Absolutely. He needs to come back from Egypt and report to the FA, and maybe the FA, I don't know, maybe they'll put up a press conference. Journalists will have the opportunity to ask questions, or if not, they will look at the report and see what the way forward should be. We'll thank Coach Ebenezer Sefa for being with us to look at the Black Satellites and their failure, their inability to make it to the World Cup. Hopefully, we'll see whether Ghana can make it to other competitions to come sometime later. I have personally not liked the fact that our national teams are failing. I don't remember the last time we played in the World Youth Tournament, the under 17 level. It's been a long time.
Yes, very long time.
And the AFCON that will be played this year, Ghana will not be going. So something is happening to our national teams we must pay attention to. Coach, thank you for joining us. This is where we draw the curtains for today. Hopefully, next week we'll be back with another interesting discussion on Ghana sports. On Pcgtv Live, we say, in thy light, there is light. Goodbye.